Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome from Berlin, where wintertime has already started. We're hoping for better weather at ITB in March, of course, but we can never tell in these regions. It's great to see that participants from 39 countries, from Croatia over Cyprus to Ecuador and Estonia, have logged into our webinar about world travel trends. Please note that the new World Travel Trends report will be uploaded this afternoon on our ITB Library website. Now it's my very pleasure to announce Mr. Rolf Freitag, the president and founder of IPK International. He will be presenting today the main trends in outbound travel demand in 2014-15 and the challenges facing the travel industry in the year ahead. Mr. Freitag, Rolf, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. Good morning to those living in Europe and in Africa. Very early morning to those living in South America and North America. And good afternoon from Dubai to Mongolia and Vietnam. I want to speak about world travel trends and what lies ahead for next year. And my information base is the latest results of our World Travel Monitor survey in 63 countries of origin, covering 90% of world outbound demand, and results of our 22nd World Travel Monitor Forum in Pisa, which is sponsored by ITB Berlin, which takes place always in October. IPK International has a global tourism service program. We produce the World Travel Monitor. We make tourism market research and marketing planning around the globe, tourism master planning, concept design, and investment development. The database today is our World Travel Monitor, which is a continuous monitoring throughout the year since 1988, and we make around 500,000 interviews per year in these 63 countries of origin of world travel. Worldwide representative opinion polling guarantees global comparability, which is not an easy job. Worldwide standardized questionnaire in many languages, and to make them comparable is always a big job. The monitor displays all inbound and outbound travel and covers all travel market segments: business, holidays, visit of friends and relatives, as far as people stay at least one night abroad in another country. So you see here, the European Travel Monitor covers 99% of the European outbound market. Same for the American Travel Monitor. We are covering also 99% of the American outbound market. And Asian Travel Monitor is now at 87% market coverage. New this year is that we have also taken Iran into the World Travel Monitor, Iran as a source for outbound travel. We think the monitor delivers representative data you can trust to all destinations worldwide. So what we are doing is value creation in 3 steps. We make in 63 countries representative travel behavior data collection, and these data are delivered from the countries to our data center in Lucerne. Our data center transforms this data into travel information, and our research team in Munich, in Germany, transforms this information into useful tourism knowledge on demand for our clients, because the World Travel Monitor is financed as a multi-client study. So let's come to the facts. Outlook on the world economy. It's based on IFO Institute from Munich. They have a worldwide ongoing tracking system with about 7,000 leading directors from the world, from the industry in general. This year, growth is expected to be 3.3, and next year a slight increase to 3.5. So what is interesting is that both figures actually are a tick lower than expected in mid-2014, but not crisis. Major economies with particular weak growth in 2014-15 will be Russia, probably, Brazil, and the euro area. No decrease, but close to stagnation. On the other side, favorably positioned major economies are United States, China, and India. On the other side, we were always speaking about the new world was driving global economy, and this was true over the last years, not only for the economy in general, but also for tourism growth. But we must question now if this new world party is over. We see problems in Brazil, in Chile, in Peru. We see also problems in Russia, you all know this, and also problems, for example, in Thailand. So these countries together count for half world population. So in 2014, many destinations were in distress. Violence and political unrest in 35 countries remained in the headlines for some key destinations, keeping travelers away, sometimes in droves, and not to forget now, Ebola. Terror, bombing, robberies. Of course, you know, Arabian unrest has become Islamic unrest, not only in Arabia. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and parts of Nigeria and Mali have become no-go destinations. Kenya has become a risky destination. Bombing and Islamic terror was coming close to tourism resorts. An increasing number of bombing and robberies on tourist buses has also been registered in Peru and Chile, and some other ones. And now we have Ebola. The outcome is not yet clear, but what we see is that we have a dramatic decrease in travel to sub-Saharan Africa, in parts of sub-Saharan Africa. But probably, as it looks now, this is actually a little bit over-dramatized, and they will get it under control soon, hopefully. Mr. Mario Draghi, who is the president of the European Central Bank, he said, if you look at the world today, you will see that geopolitical risks have increased all over. So this could lead to a major reorientation in international travel patterns, maybe. So we have quite a few fronts all at once. And the middle of it all, tourism professionals trying to keep tourism an important driver of the global economy. And excuse me. And over the last years, it was a very important driver of global economy. So let's see the data for this year. What I tell you today, in figures and facts, is based on our World Travel Survey system from January to August 2014. By experience, we know these results usually are to 1% close to the final trend at the end of the year. But the final data will be presented in March at the next ITB. So we have seen many problems and some question marks. Nevertheless, 2014 has become another excellent global travel year. The key figures for this is world outbound travel, meaning the international travel. Number of trips has increased by plus 4.5%. Actually, we are at 4.8%. Maybe we land at even at 5%. Turnover was doing even better. And nights are have a little bit less growth because trips have become a little bit closer on average, mainly due to the increasing number of Asians traveling shorter than travelers from other areas. So the key figures for outbound trips, we see a continuous growth over the last years after the crisis in 2009, always around 4 to 5%. Which was always about 50% higher than the growth of the world economy, even so this year. Also, outbound nights were increasing and outbound spending too. So this is a positive picture. We are used to these positive messages, but we should also see it is not normal in the world economy. Tourism is doing better and is creating jobs. If we see, for example, a number of outbound trips or nights increased by 3%, this is, in reality, it's meaning 8 million more newly created jobs within 1 year. So all-time outbound came from Asia and Oceania, plus 8%, with an above-average growth of intra-regional travel within Asia. South America was also positive. There was a strong intra-regional travel to Brazil. You probably know why. There were the football world championships, and Brazilians have measured more than 1 million people, especially from South America, have visited Brazil. On the other side, Brazilians went less abroad because they wanted to experience the world championship at home. North American outbound travel, after years of stagnation and now picks up as the economy is doing better every day, and we have seen a wonderful plus 5%. There was weaker Canadian outbound to USA, but strong US-bound outbound, especially from what they call the millennials, age groups up to 33 years. They have driven the US outbound growth in this year. There was an all-time high from Africa, which is meaning Africans traveling abroad is continuing to increase. And weak economy or not, there was a solid growth of European outbound by plus 3%. I will come to these figures later. Middle East outbound was negative as a total figure. You can imagine why. Because of the problems, some markets are out of business, but others were quite fine. So if we look at the where the people are traveling, long haul versus short haul, people ask what is long haul, what is short haul, but let's say it is short haul here is about 3 hours flight distance, and long haul is longer than this. Anyhow, the top long-haul source markets are in ranking. Number 1 is USA, followed by United Kingdom, China, Canada, Japan, and Germany. At the top long-haul destinations, USA, number 1, United Kingdom, number 2, Thailand, number 3, Italy, number 4, China, 5, and Germany, 6. So why do people travel abroad? Holidays is the biggest segment. We can see it here. But there's also a lot of business travel and VFRs visiting friends and relatives. Some people say visiting friends is relative, but we mean visiting friends and relatives. Holiday travel was plus 31% over the last 5 years. It was the boomer. If we have a look at the world holiday market as a whole, by segment, we can see biggest segment with the biggest market share is 28%, is sun and beach. Also, it was growing over the last years, but the share is decreasing because other types of travel, touring and city trips, were fast increasing. The real boomer were city trips, but also very positive was touring. On the other side, countryside travel has a decreasing share and also had a negative tendency over the last years. So city trips are the boom market segment number 1. Official statistics are tabulated according to administrative boundaries. The city of New York, the city of Vienna, the city of Bangkok. But these figures don't inform about economic links between the city and its surroundings, and we are measuring also what we call the metropolitan destinations, including the neighboring places where people stay. So only a portion of the city holiday makers overnight within the city limits. Others stay in the city's day trip catchment area. Together they form the city's interactional area, which is an economic system of exchange. Global ranking, number 1 is Paris. with 18.8 million visitors. Destination number 2, New York, close to Paris. Number 3 is London. Number 4, Bangkok. Number 5, Barcelona. And number 6, Singapore. But I should add, if you count Chinese outbound travel to Hong Kong and Macau as international travel, the rank order changes, and Hong Kong is a global number 1 with more than 20 million overnight visitors, and Bangkok Macau is on rank number 5. So what is driving the world business market? We make the difference between traditional business travel, visiting, going for selling products and so on, and MICE travel, which is meeting, incentive, convention, exhibitions, and so on. So what we have seen over the last years is that MICE has an increasing share and is now more important than traditional business travel. This is for you as tourism marketers, it's very positive because MICE travel is meaning it's promotable. You create a meeting, you create an incentive tour, you create a convention or an exhibition, and you create demand and people are coming. So 54% is now MICE travel and it's still going on. This is also part of what we call the information society in which we are living. The people are traveling abroad to what we used to say to tank know-how. In the MICE travel, the biggest segment are still conference, meetings and seminars, followed by trade fair and exhibitions, and each 15% convention, congress and incentive travel. But the boomers in this MICE segment are conference and meetings and incentive trips. Let's come to the world outbound accommodation choice. You see the green part and the yellow part. Let's concentrate on the green part. 60% of world outbound travel stays overnight at hotels. If you see the trend, all segments of the hotel business were increasing, but the fastest growth was with upper categories, meaning 4 and 5 star, or meaning even in Emirates 5, 6 or 7 stars. Also budget overnight stays were doing well, and middle class hotels were not suffering, but growing much slower. But highly interesting is the yellow share, what we call the para-hotellerie, the non-hotellerie sector. And 40% of international travel doesn't stay in hotels, but in other accommodations like holiday homes, visit of friends and relatives, and others. And the growth of this yellow segment, the non-hotellerie, was much faster than in the hotel business, plus 35% over the last years. And one of the reasons is the newcomer sharing economy, which, to my mind, you should take care very much, because this is a newcomer as a result of the digitalization of tourism or digital travel, which opens completely new possibilities. So we can see here, for example, Airbnb, which is meaning air, bed, and breakfast, offers now 330,000 rooms worldwide and has become one of the world's 10 largest hospitality brands, without investing one penny into hotel accommodation. They just have created a platform bringing together consumers with consumers, so they're exchanging products, apartments. We have the same seen in the taxi sector and so on. So this is the real newcomer on the market. Of course, for traditional business, it can be a danger, but I think the solution will not be to create laws to not allow this business, but to adopt the marketing strategy. The sharing tourism business model is very simple. It's only investment into digital platforms, but offering more individual choice, lower prices, better accessibility, much greater flexibility, ease of use, transparency, interactive communications, let's say user-focused mission. When it comes to world transportation choice, now we have air travel has 57% of world outbound travel, and the share is still increasing. You should remember that, for example, in USA, 80% of the travel goes via air. And I remember years ago in the World Travel Monitor, the air transportation had only 40% share. So this is the real boomer is based on air transportation. The other market segments are car, coach, train, have a decreasing share. Booking channels have also shown a very interesting trend. Now, 66% of the bookings for outbound travel are done via internet, which was once more growth, plus 7%. But the growth rate is slowing. The years before, we have always seen two-digit growth. Now it is less. And the question is if we will be soon to saturation. What we can see in very highly developed travel market is that it's never higher than 75%, the internet booking share. There are reasons why the internet will probably, we say, will not go to 100%, and travel agency bookings and what is all around the travel agency system will consolidate, and they are not stagnating, but they were even increasing a little bit. Really new is that smartphone booking now is gaining market share. The last years, one was always speaking, and technology was pushing this, and forecast that everything will be done mobile in the future. This has not happened in the past, but in 2014 we have seen a sharp increase. Above all in China, from 2013 it was 4% of the bookings have been done via smartphone, and in 2014 already 10% of bookings. USA has exploded. It was very low and has moved to 7% plus. Japan is now plus 5% after 2% the year before, which is meaning a growth of 150%. And also doubling in Europe, with 4% share of all bookings. Social media use for outbound travel is also still increasing, and nearly everybody in China or Brazil is now using social media for getting information in the preparation of the trip or after the trip. Also high shares in USA, Europe, and Japan. Social media has heavy influence on travel before, during, and don't forget, after a journey. It's a little bit also like the goodwill multiplicator, which we have seen in the past, that one of the key motivators for travel decision making has been a positive report from friends and family members. It's also an error to think social media is only used by our youngsters. Today it is used by all demographic groups. This is what we clearly see in our World Travel Monitor data. And social media is much more diverse than just the well-known leading platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Travel companies can use social media for marketing, brand monitoring, customer services, crisis response, and so on. And I know many people who now, when they book a hotel, they first watch on the ratings and on the comments in social media before choosing a hotel. So this has a high impact on transparency, if it is true or not, but what the internet says is believed. Okay, let's have a short look on the European travel trends 2014. So robust Europeans keep traveling despite conflicts. It's quite astonishing. The growth was weak in 2014, and forecast for next year is still weak, but a little bit more positive than for this year. This counts especially for the Eurozone, where the growth was plus 0.8% and will increase a little bit next year, hopefully. It was a little bit higher or even higher in outside the Eurozone, but in countries of European Community, as you can see, Poland quite positive, Great Britain doing fine, Sweden, Norway are doing also fine. Well, so this don't mix. This is European outbound travel to the world. Trips plus 3%. Turnover was also increasing, but the number of nights was stagnating due to more shorter trips. For example, city trips. Where did the Europeans go? To Asia. The growth leader was Asia. Plus 7% Europeans went to Asia. Same accounts for Central America, which is and 6% for Caribbean, 6% more Europeans to North America, 5% to South America, maybe also to the Football World Championship, and also Pacific, Asia Pacific was increasing, plus 5%. Growth to Africa was low in 2014. So one word concerning the Russian outbound travel market. As you can see, Russia was the real outbound boomer of the European outbound travel market over the last, one could say even last 10 years, more than doubling. And in the last years, more than 1/3 of European growth came from the Russian outbound market. In 2014, we have a slowdown. This is till August, minus 1%. It's not dramatic, but it's for the first time a decrease. And if we exclude the Ukraine crisis and the destination Ukraine, Russian outbound was even increasing by plus 10% to all other destinations in the world. Less to Europe and the Western countries, but more to the south and to east of Russia. We make our survey in 63 countries concerning the future travel planning, and concerning the Russian market, the opinion of the Ukrainian crisis is as follows. People, 18% say they will travel but make less expensive trips. 10% will travel within the country, which would indicate a decrease. No traveling, 5%, also a decrease. And traveling to other destinations instead of Europe, some. What we see very clearly, we go into details of this questioning, the price will be the decisive factor in 2015 due to devaluation of the ruble and the weak economy. And I'm wondering, when we make our next survey in February 2015, if the low oil price will not have a heavy impact also on the travel planning. So let's come to the World Outbound Travel forecast for 2015. We realize every 6 months our travel monitor, in our World Travel Monitor, some prospective questions concerning outbound travel planning for the next 12 months. We do it in Europe, in South America, North America, and in Asia. So to make it simple, we have created a World Travel Confidence Index consisting of the survey results combined with economic forecast for the outbound markets. Above 100 is more or less indicating the market will grow. Below 100 decrease, and around 100 growth threshold, stagnation. This has worked quite well over the last years. It was a relatively precise forecasting model. European Travel Confidence Index for next year is 103%. So we think there will be another year of solid European growth, around plus 3%, just like this year. Russian travel confidence is still very positive. Let's say that people want to travel next year. Seeing these figures, one could say plus 4% is still possible next year. But I think due to the latest events like low oil price and so on, probably it will be lower. And we have to see what will come out from our survey in February. But it doesn't indicate a dramatic breakdown of travel. Travel has become part of the normal consumption behavior also in Russia. It's quite stable. South American travel confidence is also positive, but less positive than over the last years. Here we see that also the South American economy has some difficulties. But we think a growth of plus 3% should be possible, which is meaning less than over the last years. Let's make a trip to North America. For North America, the confidence index is plus 103, also indicating probably growth of 3%. And Asia will be once more the boomer. I think everybody knows this. The confidence index is actually at 108, indicating more or less a growth of 7-8% plus. So in total, for the world outbound travel, we see a growth for next year of about 4 to 5%, which is meaning more or less the same growth rate as we had it in 2014. So thank you very much, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Yes. Yeah, one question was the future of Airbnb and traditional hotellery. We think that Airbnb and this type is a new market segment. It will grow, but traditional hotellery will remain an important sector. But growth rates will be for some years higher in the, let's say, in this digital travel segment. Another question we have got was, does Russia count to the developed and stable travel markets? Yes, as I have mentioned, to our mind, it is today travel behavior of Russians is oriented towards international traveler. They want to travel, and that's also how I see the travel intentions for next year at plus 4%. It's meaning there's a very strong will to continue to travel abroad and not to give up. Also, there are difficult situations. Only it might be, as we have seen it also already in the late 90s, that for a moment things might go down. But in the long term, the Russian travel market will remain a strong and important market, let's say one of the top 4 outbound markets in Europe. And will the high airfare from Europe would be a concern for travelers like India? Let's say it is on so the question is, will the high airfare from Europe would be a concern for travelers to travel to countries like India? It is still, but I think India has some other problems in the mind of travel decision makers, and we see an increasing number of quite cheap airfares. By the way, I will travel in January to India, and I have found fantastic rates. Another question: figures from air bookings from Russia to EU show a real decrease. So far in 2014, where Russians go instead of Europe, very simple, they go to southern destinations, Turkey had a remarkable growth from the Russian market. The same counts for Emirates and this area, but also Southeast Asia. Forecast for Africa concerning Africa as a destination, or is it Africa as that was Stefan was asking this, as a destination or as an outbound market? As a destination, we think Africa will continuously improve because there are already quite a lot of good hotels, and Ebola will be like a happening. It will be a short, dramatic impact, but then business will go and, as usual, in Africa will come more and more. Somebody has said, that's great. George, thank you very much. Do you have any breakdown of China outbound travel between individual and groups? Yes, we have it. Yes, and we will send it, the answer to you by email because we must go on our database. Yeah, so please send your question. You see the email, quote@ipkinternational.com, and we will answer your question immediately today. So, question has been answered. When you mean some other inhibitions on India, you mean the woman? I don't think that it has a heavy impact, but what we see is that there are still cultural differences, which for some people would be too tiring. They like to have an easygoing holiday, so they might not keep India in mind. Also, it is a wonderful destination. Forecast for Israel, we think it will depend very much on the next political developments. In general, Israel has a positive tendency. So if you don't have other questions, yes. Hello from Brazil. Bom dia. Do you think Brazil will be able to keep on attracting tourists after the World Cup? Maybe of course, Brazil, to our mind, will gain importance, has created a great positive, has sent a great positive message to the world, and also awareness for traveling to Brazil. So we think this will go on at least for the next 3 years, including the Olympics, of course. Do you have share of tourism in global GDP? Yes, it is actually at 9.5%, and 1 out of 11 jobs in the world is related to tourism spending, and this relation will even become 1 to 10 within the next years. That is following also the calculations of the WTTC in London. Comments about Greece, possible elections soon. Yes, Greece in principle has returned to business. It was one of the most successful destinations in Europe already for the second year. And this can continue as long as Greece is keeping its prices under control. Yes. So, do you have other questions? That's one. Does your research have a breakdown? Yes. The question is, does your research have a breakdown of organizing channels, full packages or self-booked separate services? Yes, but my answer is, as I'm not the computer of IPK, send an email to Quote. It's Stephanie, sitting here to me, ipkinternational.com, and we will also try to answer your question this morning. More? We still have time. Is Sri Lanka a more favorite destination for Europeans, and it's increasing? Yes, it is one of the warm water destinations, and business will go on. For the moment, no more questions. So anyhow, if you have more questions, please send it to Stephanie with the email quote@ipkinternational.com. Yeah? Thank you very much, and I wish you a fantastic new year. If you're interested in latest news, just come to ITB in March 2015, where there's this fantastic convention, the ITB convention, over 3 or 4 days, with more than 20,000 participants, and it is all for free. Good luck. All the best.